Look outside. It's a fabulous day here in Southern Ontario, which puts us all in a wonderful mood. This is the Sportsline podcast. Always appreciate you watching or listening on the CHCH and Parrot Media platform. I'm Bubba O'Neil. Friends, this podcast, as you know, is a space for the many extraordinary athletes, coaches, executives, and broadcasters that got their start right here in the Golden Horseshoe. Today we're talking development, and when it pertains to hockey at the provincial level, the newly renamed Greater Ontario Hockey League is doing just that at the highest level. But to be the best, there has to be an individual with a plan, a vision, knowledge, and the persistence to execute. 1 year ago, Craig Spada was named the new commissioner of the GOHL, and let's just say this league is on the move. Craig, so pleased to have you on the Sportsline podcast.
It's my pleasure, Bubba. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, there is a lot going on in your league right now, but I'm going to start off because, there's things I want to get into when it comes to your history and your affiliation with hockey and why you love the sport so much. But I think I'm going to ask the question that 80, maybe even 90% of the people that are watching this podcast right now are saying, what is the GOHL?
Well, the GOHL is a development league here in Ontario that's been successful producing players to the next level. And we've been pretty excited about what's taking place the last little while, as you just mentioned. But prior to that, for many years, the league has produced great players that have gone on to the National Hockey League in the end result. And that's certainly exciting, and everything it's about at the grassroots.
When you look at development of this league, when you say the word development, what does that mean to you?
Development to me means taking that player that's just leaving minor hockey and making him into a player that can play at the next level. And that is our level. And beyond that, who knows where he can go. And obviously we've seen many go all the way, and that's exciting.
When you look at, as I said, the age of the player, that's at that age where they're trying to figure out if hockey is for them as a recreation or maybe someone in the professional loop, whether it be the National Hockey League or even the American Hockey League, which you're familiar with. When you get to that point, in terms of where the league is and where the players are, do you feel like that's where it gets kind of serious?
Yeah, I think it gets serious. I think these are kids, with aspirations, and I think we either can show them the right and wrong in life, not just hockey, of course, and that's, I think, what I can commend a lot of our ownership groups and GMs and coaches for doing so. And I think obviously we want to direct them in a schooling path, and beyond that, if they are good enough to play hockey, we certainly can guide them in that direction for sure.
I'm amazed at the amount of teams that you have in your league. Ontario is a big province. Southern Ontario is a big region. But you stretch beyond Southern Ontario into Southwestern Ontario. What is it? Is it 23 teams?
Yeah, right now we have 23 teams, and we did put out a post yesterday. We are going to expand one more. We do want to balance our league to 24. And so that's where we're headed, and I think that will be a nice balance for now. And but it is exciting. We right from Windsor all the way through down into Fort Erie. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
When you get into these areas, Elmira, St. Mary's, Strathroy, how important is it to you to be part of the community?
Yeah, those are like community teams, and all of our teams are obviously community related in some aspects, but many of our, I think we have 8 right now that are community owned teams, and those are pretty exciting to us. They certainly operate a little different in a private ownership, as they have a board to report to. So many people involved, much of the community involved in those, and it certainly puts fans in the building. That's what we really want to see. We want kids to play in front of fans. I think it's what every kid's dream is, to play in front of people, and that makes it very exciting. As the ownership, privately owned teams, much involved in the communities as well, because that's what makes them tick, and that's what it's about.
So If I'm understanding this right, we're looking at players that are going to be probably 16, 17, 18, 19. Is that where they are?
Yeah, so we do have access to the 15-year-old only for a 5 games right now as per Hockey Canada rules. We'd certainly like to expand on that. We certainly see those players as a key player in development in hockey. We do have access to them in the playoffs, the 15-year-old, after their teams are beat out in the full-time capacity. And we had 2 of them make our teams last year and be very successful in the playoffs. And fans come and watch them. They're exciting, right? And they're the kids that are going to be drafted to the OHL in our area. So that's exciting. And then we go right through onto the 20-year-old. And so we carry a maximum of 5 20-year-olds at this time. They're very important to our league. They usually bring leadership and you know, that 16-year-old kid that's here for the first time, they can certainly, you know, be on a line mate of them, help them off the ice, and in general getting to play hockey. And sometimes, a lot of times, many times, these players are away from home already, right? So they're building out, and those are things that, you know, that older player in most aspects helps.
When people hear GOHL, they're also thinking GOJHL. You just had a name change, did you not?
Yeah, so the name change was directly related to something we wanted to do if and when we did make the OHL agreement. So the OHL agreement did finally happen. I've been working on it for about 9 months with myself and our board, and we certainly were successful in where we went with that, and we're very excited about that. Obviously, it gives us another level of you know, quality of player probably, and or excitement to our league, that's for sure. So the GOJHL, I think we just outgrew the name in general. The junior part of aspect is we're headed in a very professional manner. I believe we added when I first came here, we added paramedic equipment to every building, which the league bought. We added first responders to each building every game, and I thought that was very important for, if I'm a parent putting a player in a league, I want them to be safe. And so that was a huge first step for us to align with the OHL. And then we continued to, we changed our platform of how we played. We had 3 divisions, and we used to play in 3 separate divisions and play for a playoff at the end with those 3 teams. And we divided it strictly in 2 and made it a more professional situation. So I think everything we did was guided to be a professional, more look and league at the junior level, and therefore it's a simpler statement. It matches the OHL more, and I think it aligns a lot of things for the players and gives us a better look and new look.
I think this is an opportunity for you to brag, because I'm thinking, yeah, there's a lot of positives for you to be affiliated with the Ontario Hockey League. But for the Ontario Hockey League, there's some benefits for them as well, too.
It's definitely helped both of us.
Right.
And they saw it as the same. And I commend them for that, and I thank them for that. And it wasn't just a one-way street by any means. And they understand that, you know, we're in a good financial spot, the league, but being involved with them has created a better financial spot, I believe. And that helps. If you're going to be viable and be able to produce their best players, you know, where they need to play now to be there next year and the year after, then you have to be viable and financially stable. And so there's been some, you know, various layouts of this agreement that certainly will help us in that aspect. It'll certainly help us in the quality of player we get in. What I mean is the younger player now coming to us, they're not afraid to send us even their first, second round draft picks, where we really used to operate on a later draft pick a lot, and they would keep those players up there and develop them there. And now we've got the confidence, I believe, of them, and we're seeing first rounders in our league for the first time, and that's like just dramatically exciting for us.
Well, you say first rounders, and I'll tell you, anyone that does just a wee bit of research will be blown away by the number of players that played in your league, Ontario Hockey League, and the National Hockey League. And one name that comes to mind is someone that's getting a lot of press right now, is a former London Knight, Easton Cowan.
Of course, yeah. On that team in particular that you're speaking of, the London Knights, who just won the Memorial Cup, there was 15 players that played in our league on that team that developed in our league. I think there was probably a few more that we don't usually try to count the 1 or 2 gamers, but that was very exciting for us. And when you speak of Easton County, he obviously here playing in Toronto makes it very dramatic, right? And something that is very exciting for both our league to see him come from the Mocha Kings organization into the London Knights organization onto the Toronto Maple Leafs, and talk about being an Ontario-led situation. Isn't that exciting, right?
Well, we always talk about that. Because I know the guys out west, they do a lot of bragging, right? But we always want to know that, hey, in Ontario, that the best hockey is being played at all levels. Hey, your journey is unbelievable when I look at it, and I think our people need to know that you're a hockey guy. First of all, before we get into what you're doing now and why you're doing what you're doing now, you were one of the guys in stripes that we kind of like and we didn't always like. A little bit about that time of your life.
Yeah, I guess a lot of times we're referred to as a necessary evil, right? We certainly, you got to have us out there, unfortunately, but it makes it work. But yeah, it was a neat career. I obviously wasn't good enough to play, and went into officiating at probably, I think I was 22. I didn't start officiating until, and it was pretty exciting. Made my way through the OHL and Memorial Cups and various things through the American Hockey League. Game 7 Calder Cup right here in Hamilton. I think we still have the record for the most attendance. I think that still fits in the books. It was a pretty exciting game if I remember properly, but it was unfortunately long ago. And then obviously on to the National Hockey League for a nice little career. And I came back into hockey coming back to the OHL, get involved with them for a little bit longer, and on to some discipline stuff with the Ontario Hockey Association. And so I've always kept my foot in it, that's for sure. And then I was eventually hired with this league to take over their discipline originally, and that's where it started.
You say you took that job, but I'm led to believe that I know that I've heard you say this word, that you coming back to the GOHL was kind of it was, how can I describe this? It was something that was set up many years ago.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's for sure. Yeah, that's true.
Can you explain that to everyone?
Well, I think what you're referring to is that this area, I grew up in down in Fort Erie, Ontario. So the GOHL was a league, GOJHL at the time was a league that I officiated in for a long time, and certainly was heavily involved in and refereed the finals many times. And so when I say coming back to it, I guess that's what I mean by that. I'm coming back to where I originally started, and that's kind of cool to do all the time. We always come back home, don't we?
Yeah, isn't that amazing? That's fantastic. All right, so as you said, you're doing some discipline stuff with the league. Yeah, that's one thing, and that's one assignment. And you also have some other things going on in your life as well, and your father, commissioner, ding dong, like that's the big dog. Like, what made you say, yeah, that's for me?
I think the league was, I found myself within the league, and I found myself being invited to the meetings, and I kind of got entrenched in it a little bit. But the real truth is I had a son coming up, and still do. He actually was drafted by the Tampa Bay Lightning this year and did play his first exhibition game at 18, and it was pretty exciting to be down there and watch him play. And so as he came up through, he was on a very good team in Halton, which was Matthew Schaefer was his D partner, which we all hear a lot about today, don't we? And so when he was drafted by the Guelph Storm in the OHL, I said, okay, he's not good enough to play right now in the OHL. So what's he going to do? And I was, like I said, just started in the GOHL, and he says to me, Dad, I don't want to play in the GOJHL. You're going to discipline. You know how much ribbon I would take? He says, and so I said, yeah. So it was an option, but wasn't an option. I'm thinking, what do I do with my son? This is my son now we're talking about here. And anyway, we ended up looking at a couple options, U18 hockey or Ridley College, and obviously the GOJHL JHL at the time, and he did play in Ridley and was lucky enough to be up with the Storm very quickly in the next number of months. But in general, I was just like, wow, these kids, you follow all your life playing hockey, and you go from, Adam, the Pee Wee to mine, and you know where you're playing. Then all of a sudden, you don't know where you're playing, and I don't think that's right. So I kind of really got involved in with the GOHL, and at the time saying, move me to a vice president role, and kind of put me involved in all of that type of stuff. And I was able to go to league meetings and OHF meetings and Hockey Canada stuff, and it was really intriguing to me to say we got to make a better system for these kids, and so I think I showed a real involvement in the league, and I think the GOHL ownership group is very good. They're a good group of people, and they want to do the right thing for the athlete, and it really intrigued me getting to see a group of people so intrigued by, I guess they weren't putting money first, they were putting the player first, and it really intrigued me, and I think they saw my passion as well. And they had an interim situation with the commissioner at the time, and they interviewed me and said, we'd like you to have this job, and that's kind of how it went down. It was kind of a come into it in a fashion. I was there, and it worked out. I think the board accepted what I liked about him, and I think they accepted what I believed in.
So many times, if people like yourself that sit on this couch here in this podcast, we come to the same agreement of things just falling into place when the time is right.
That's right,
and that's amazing that you are now in this position and now have as I said, off the top, through the vision, the stones to put together, the vision, the plan, and to execute those kind of things. One of the things that I see that you have done is hired Brad Kovacic as your sort of right-hand man when it comes to being, again, the guys in stripes. But that's a big gig, is it not?
Yeah, so that's something, obviously near and dear to my heart. I still do handle the discipline for the league. It's important to me both, being hands-on that way and to know the players, because a lot of my job has become very business-like, and is a lot of my background too. So that's been good, and that's the exciting part for me, the boardroom stuff, that type of thing. But staying involved in the sport we love in the ice and stuff is great. But Brad, I said to our group that we definitely need a little extension of myself, meaning I need someone in between to handle some of the everyday stuff of the actual on ice officiating and hockey concerns, because the officiating is your upfront center public scene, and let's be honest, it's the most issued situation.
Of course.
Right?
Everyone's got an opinion.
That's right. As we look at the umpires the other night in the Jays game, or we look at this, we always are quick to criticize. And it's a tough job. And obviously, you mentioned the word stones. Obviously, I feel that you can't do this job as a commissioner without those. And, you also can't do what Brad's going to do for us now without stones. And he certainly has them. And he's going to come off the ice at the end of this season. And we interviewed, and we had quite a number of applicants, but we just felt Brad has a real professionalism about him. He has a great demeanor to talk to coaches, and he certainly has a dramatic amount of experience fishing over 1,900 games in the National Hockey League.
Wow.
Right? So he comes to us with a wealth of experience, and certainly going to take a little bit of heat off my back. So
well, and if you're him, you don't take this gig unless you're really interested in it.
Yeah, I think it's exciting for him. He seemed very excited. He interviewed to our board members. He was certainly enthusiastic about it, and he certainly is up for it. He says, when he was told he was hired, and the next day we had our first meetings with him, he said, "Can I start today?" And you love to see that, right? That's very exciting stuff. So, yeah.
You talked about your son moments ago, and we kind of teased a little video there. As I went looking for a little video of him, he's a tough customer, isn't he?
Yeah, he
has no fear.
No, he fights. He unfortunately fought again last night. So he in Kitchener there, but yeah, he's a tough cookie. There he is last night. Yeah, that's right.
He's chucking him.
Oh yeah, he's 6'5", almost 6'6", and he's a big boy, and he certainly plays hard, and I enjoys that aggressive side of the game. That's for sure.
Wait, there's Brad right there too. Breaking him up.
That's not Brad. That's Brad's nephew.
Oh, it's his nephew.
Yeah,
okay.
that's Brad's nephew.
Oh, they're keeping it all in the family for crying out loud.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's right. You do see a lot of that though. So
Let me ask you a question. This is fun, actually. When I look at this, okay, there's two parts of this. When as a dad, and you're what? Like, I mean,
I was there last night.
Okay,
yeah.
what are you thinking right now when you're seeing this?
For him, it's become he's a kid that you'd never dream would ever fight. When you talk to him, he's the politest, nicest kid in the world. And then, but he checks up the minutes and in the penalty box, and he just plays that style. And I had a scout there last night said to me, "Geez," and I've had numerous people say this in excluding agents. I don't want to say he's anywhere near to Chris Pronger, but he definitely plays in that nasty type style. And if he could be an ounce of what Chris Pronger was as a player, that would be a great thing, because that was one heck of a hockey player. But he does have that edge you just can't teach, and it's an edge that can take you places in hockey, right? That's something unteachable.
Part of the game.
That's right.
Right.
So
okay, so that's your aspect as a father, watching your son take the steps to get to the National Hockey League. When you're an official and this is going on, then what are you thinking?
Oh, what's this goofy kid doing, right? So yeah, I guess there's two aspects of it. But yeah, that's
come
true.
on, kids, guys, break it up.
That's right.
Enough already.
Enough's enough. It's gonna hurt.
And when you're like a ref, I'm sure, obviously, because you guys see everything, right? As fans, when we're watching the game,
a lot of people think we see nothing. But.
No, I know. I'm trying to give you credit, right? I mean, a lot of times, fans, or we're watching on television, we're just following the puck. But like when you're an official, when you're a referee, you're seeing it all.
You're supposed to.
You're supposed to see it all, right? But you can a lot of times see these fights coming before they're coming, can't you?
Oh yeah, there's lots of telltale signs. A shift before, a few shifts earlier, a hit that someone didn't like on a player that was younger, and now the big guy steps in to be the enforcer and the policeman, as I say sometimes. But yeah, so a lot of this stuff is certainly built up in the game, and it's a game of aggression. Let's be honest, hockey's a pumped up sport, and it's not there for the weak and faint at heart, right? So.
Fair enough. Or when the coaches put that line on each line, something's happening.
Sometimes that can happen. The player, the players, yeah. And as you ref hockey leagues, you learn the players, that's for sure. But most of them are out with good intentions to win a hockey game, and that's what makes it exciting. So.
Final thing here, when you look at your league and where you are in the position that you have, and the little bit of power that you have to make things happen and change, what is something about the Greater Ontario Hockey League that you want to see, in time? What is your vision for this league going forward to the future?
Yeah, there's been a lot of my vision has taken place in a relatively short period of time, which is beyond exciting. I can't thank the Ontario Hockey League enough. I can't thank our ownership group enough. I can't thank the ownership group of the Ontario Hockey League for accepting us. And this is really about the player, right? This has made it so exciting for the player that it's something that what I think is the most rewarding part of it. And as I look to the future, to directly answer your question, the more I see we can do for that player and provide that pathway of ease, because there was a really difficult time there when a player was good enough to play in the OHL or the major junior system and had to choose to play in an NCAA and didn't those were difficult choices for 16-year-old kids and men to make, and in fact the difficult decisions for their parents to make, and to take those decisions out of the difficulty of those decisions out of the pit mix, man, I'll tell you, it makes it wonderful for someone in my position to see so much evolving in hockey. So when I look down the lane, I want to see our franchises successful. I want to see continue to put fans in the buildings and watch these great young players play at an affordable price, and then most importantly, I think it is about seeing these kids make it to whatever they want to do in life, and I don't just mean if they want to, you know, take an apprenticeship as a plumber or electrician, we want to help them, right? That's what I want to envision, is the financial means that we have enough stability to be able to put that player and help them in that pathway financially in their school and or to the pro level of hockey. So I think that's the future of us, and hopefully we can put enough money in place to do that one day.
You opened the door to one question I do have to ask you here. This sort of opening of the door for a lot of players to go to the NCAA, is this a plus or a minus? Where do you see this at?
Well, it's 100% a plus to the player.
Right.
So he can play major junior hockey and then choose later to go on to the NCAA. And if that pathway, because the NCAA is a much older league, right? You know, you're starting to play that at 19, 20 years old versus what you play in the OHL at or the CHL, I should say, in general. So it's definitely a huge plus, and I think in turn it's become a plus for us as we've hooked our tail to the OHL, to say it bluntly, and that will, provides us those players that never had to choose. Now, into that 16-year-old who, couldn't play major juniors, now playing in our league to try and get to major juniors. So these things are all, setting themselves up nicely. So it's a plus all the way around. And if you say to start with the player, it's absolutely a plus.
Right. Well, as I've done this job and made my way into rinks like the Anderchuk Arena to watch a Kilty Bees or to see Fort Erie or St. Catharines, Welland, it is amazing to me the excitement, as you said, value of going in these little barns and watching hockey at this high level. How exciting it can be, and I did use the word community, and watching the communities support their team. You're clearly doing something really, really well in terms of not only development, but providing a little something for the community as well, too. Keep doing what you're doing, bud.
Thanks.
It's fabulous to see, because like I said, anyone that likes hockey and goes into these little barns, you can watch hockey, NHL anytime. You can watch even the OHL anytime. But yeah, to go in these little places and watch the excitement of the sport really at its kind of grassroots level, it's awesome. It's awesome. I guarantee you'll go back.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you will go back, and it's exciting. And you got to thank the volunteers that,
Oh, yes.
You think, Craig Spada doesn't just do this. This is done. There's so many people involved in our league, from our staff and within our office down, through the ownership groups, through the GMs, through the coaches, to the trainers.
50 people.
50. That's what I'm going to get to. The volunteers that make all this stuff go, that gets the money together to pay for the buses, the costs, and get these kids around. It's dramatically exciting to see. Their endless involvement. I'm talking 20, 30 years of continued involvement with the same team, and they love that team as much as anything else in the world. And isn't that neat to see? That's what I like to see when I walk into a building.
Well, this seat is available to you anytime you got news to tell me about the league, or you want to come in and chat about some grassroots hockey.
Well, Bubba, you're a great guy, and I certainly enjoy just your expressions on your face make me happy. So thanks for having me, buddy.
All right, anytime you want to come in, let me know.
Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks for joining us. Hey, your Sportsline podcast is complete for the day, and you've just seen and heard we love talking sports. As I said, at that grassroots level, go check out some games, folks. You will be back again, as I said. Hey, if you do know of an athlete, team, or event to promote the Sportsline podcast, do want to hear from you. Please hit that thumbs up, like, and subscribe button. And if you have something to say, always appreciating your comments. For the outstanding people that make the Sportsline podcast possible, thank you so very much. And we'll see you real soon.